having a quick look at what Bitcoin's doing before having a look at ADA. Just be wary here if you're in longs. I mean, again, this is just choppy range like usual, but we just created a 12-hour supply. You can see on my remarkably busy low time frame chart. Don't share this one quite so often, but yeah, 12-hour supply. Did I just say 12-hour, 12-month? But you know, still choppy within range, but decent potential short entry coming up. The only thing with the structure of this and what we did yesterday is it would not surprise me. So you can look for an immediate rejection off that 12-hour, but just be careful with your stop and have a look at the walls and things on the chart, because it wouldn't surprise me if we come up and wick through this 12-hour into this hourly that wasn't tested above, because there's lots of stops above here. And get up into that hourly and then drop from there. And last I looked, I mean, in the bigger picture, last I looked, we did also have that massive wall still at 44,100, so don't discount that going all the way back up to here, taking out the stops above this hourly. And I haven't done a higher time frame analysis on this to know what Korea and you know, has Korea got that 12-hour supply? Yeah, it has. And 8-hour, 4-hour. Yeah, so CME doesn't have the 12-hour, does have a 4-hour in there around the same level. GBTC is just starting up for the day. Yeah. So a wick through there to here wouldn't surprise me. But then what you want, I mean, again, you don't have to wait for that. Oh, wrong chart. So still short bias on this, given we took out the highs for potentially taking out more of the lows, and then we've just got inside bars on the daily at the moment. So inside bar from yesterday, and again we're running an inside bar for today. So what you're looking at when you have an inside bar, so it's an inside bar trade that you could take as well, that you've got the high and the low of the inside of the previous bar. Could also look at this low because you've got two green candles, but those are the sort of three levels of interest: 41,667, 42k, and 43,560. And if it takes out one and then closes back inside, then you can expect it to take out the other side. So again, like if we come and take out this high and go to that 44 or 44,100 is quite a lot higher than that. But if we take out the high of this and close back inside, then we can look for a trade to the other side and vice versa. So those are your levels of interest at the moment. But really, you know, we're still running between this weekly zone and in that weekly range that I've mentioned in my last update. You know, we've just got this weekly. We've got an inside bar on the weekly as well. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So yeah, we had this bar, and then we had this bar take out the high. It's not an inside bar, and but not take out the low. So again, we can still potentially expect this to come down and take out the low, and that is essentially what I'm expecting. Anyway, I said I'd start ADA at 2, so we've got another 4 minutes. I think Ether's still consolidating, so we did get the rejection just before that 12-hour level at the top. It doesn't have that 12-hour supply that Bitcoin has, but is back now in 8-hour demand. If this flips this into an 8-hour supply, that'll be a nice easy short for later, but a few hours for that, and we've already got a 4-hour supply in there, and Ether tends to be a bit more reliable and less likely to stop hunt. But then if Bitcoin does, this might do the same. There's an hourly up there that hasn't been tested, and then there's this hourly here. So potentially if Bitcoin does run through the 12-hour, then I'd look for, firstly, this zone to hold on Ether. So 25, 30, 25.7ish, only 25.40, to potentially get a short in there. But again, be aware that if it takes out these lows, it's already taken out those ones from yesterday, but if it comes and swing fails these lows, then again the shorts are going to become less high probability. But yeah, I am still locally short biased on Bitcoin and Ether. Anyway, on to ADA, because I was looking at which other major to do before I go to the gym, and I thought this seemed like a nice one on the higher time frame. So rejection off weekly supply. We didn't quite take out the weekly high here, but we did swing fail the monthly. Oh no, I lie. For some reason, that's the 3 week. The monthly, so the monthly level there got the swing fail, but we didn't quite take out the weekly high and the high of the actual weekly zone, which I would have preferred, to be honest. However, what we do have on this is a really nice, well no, okay, it's not that nice, but a nice 3 month flip down here. So there is a 3 month level, it's 2 candles, so it would be better if it didn't have this messy candle in the middle, but that would be the first level of interest for longs. And really I don't want to be longing this until it gets down there. Until, I should say again, retract that, until and if it gets down there. It doesn't have to get down there. But the structure at the moment I'm liking for getting down there. So we had a short in weekly supply up here, which has held ever since. It's barely pushed back up. I think it's one of the ones that on the hasn't created any new 3-day, and you know, it did have a daily demand and it just barely got any move off it and is drifting back down. Okay, it has a 4 hour here, so I guess just be wary in case we get a bounce now for the higher low again. But weekly supply, you know, I still would expect it to be taking out this low and preferably into these zones. Nice confluence of the 3 month. On the log chart, the fibs are a bit lower, but on the linear chart, this is really nicely lined up with the 61.70 fib and this consolidation here. So yeah, set your alerts for around the 4 mark on this, for longs if it comes down there, and or set limits. Still got that risk of a wick, but you know, it's distant enough for me to think, you know, that if Bitcoin suddenly does a drop and this does drop down, that it's far enough away for a wick to take us just nicely into there without taking out a whole bunch of these stops. But we'll see what price action builds up in the interim. So yeah, so weekly supplies and nothing on the 2 week. Weekly supplies playing out. And again, what I'd look for, so again, if you want a re-entry towards the end of the week, if we get a close below here, then we'll create a new weekly supply. It'll be a bit of a massive one, which isn't ideal, but a lot of these I'm actually looking at 5 days, 4 days as well, because we're having so much chop. So again, while I wouldn't normally look at those because it just requires looking at far too many charts, you can see here, like it actually did create a week 5 day supply and it's come off that. And if you've got that confluent with others, it's got a 4 day which hasn't quite tapped at the top of that candle. But if that's confluent with other zones, then it's worth considering. So this had a daily and it would have had the confluence with the 5 day, actually would have been a really nice entry there. 2 day potentially, again, we're going to get a 2 day if we don't bounce here before the end of the day, which again will be a nice potential short entry. So these are all aggressive shorts and for scalpers. So let's see what happens. This is not a 12 hour, this is an 8 hour zone that we're just hitting now, and it is at the start of a decent up move, so we could expect a bounce off here. So let's just see what this does. It's not a short entry right now, it could be a long scalp right now if that's what you want to do. So again, for me, I wouldn't scalp this as a long due to being high time frame supply over to the left, plus a new high time frame supply being put in and having rejected off that cleanly here. So while we might get a bounce here and maybe the bounce will go higher in this weekly, it's not a long I want to take. I would rather wait for a higher probability down here. Quick look at the BTC pair. Interesting chart. So okay, so 6 months. Let's just have a look. Bigger picture, nothing on the yearly. 6 month. So we got this tap down into the 6 month demand, which I think I did have alerted or talked about previously. 3 month nothing new, but just above that. So 2 month, we've rejected 2 month supply there, and we've got a new 2 month demand here. But overarchingly coming off 6 months demand at the lows. So again, it's a ginormous range. Did we take out? We didn't take out the high of the range, but not an unexpected bounce at the 6 month there, and not an unexpected rejection at 2 month supply. So when you can see again with some of these charts that they're quite easy if you look at the very high time frames. But it's a question of being patient and waiting for those very high time frames to actually play out. So the 2 month supply, again, we're looking for the retest. We've got a 2 month demand, so I want to set, I'm going to set alerts slightly higher on this, but just to be, hello, oh, not blue, green for buy. 2 months demand, and then I think there's something that says a 3 week there, 2 week and weekly just on top of it, which again we haven't quite tapped, and we also haven't quite tapped the weekly supply here as well. So if we get an up move, that weekly supply would be where I'd be looking for the possibility of a rejection. However, if we come down into here first, then I won't. But yeah, I'll just set this alert down here for 3 week, then 2 month demand. So we look at where the US dollar pair is at the same time as this hits. But that's kind of an interesting chart. And is it the start of an uptrend? Possibly. Still early days. Quite liking the look of that for the possibility, you know, that's when we really want alt season, you know, is when you see the massive up move on an alt BTC pair. But you can also see here how long consolidation it took, and then how much retracement before that actually happened, and we've only got a very small portion of what we had back in 2021 so far on this. Go back to the US dollar pair. So in summary, nothing really on the low time frame here, although possible long scalp now if Bitcoin doesn't die. Put your bids down around the 4s, or your alerts. Prefer alerts rather than bids in my case. And for the short side, if we get another move, but I'm not overly confident of that at this point in time, then I have an alert up at 1 month supply up here, but there's a bit of chop before that, so there's a 3 week and there's a 3 day in there as well. Bit of chop before we get to those levels. So again, not breaking this last down move, so we can still make a giant range here first. First level of interest, second level of interest to retrace the whole move down at the 3 week, all the way down there. Okay.